All right, everybody, welcome to the Movie Squad.
Squad.
There it is. All right, I'm Donnie, your host this week. Apparently, very unpopular host this week amongst the peeps. But joining me tonight are my co-hosts. We'll start with Phil. Phil, how are you?
I'm fine. I've scratched corneas.
How did you scratch your corneas?
Oh, I watched Pale Rider. Scratched my eye.
Okay, I see where this is.
This is how we're starting, baby.
I'm
this
just
is
kidding.
how we're starting.
Dude, I'm
Out
good,
of the
man.
gate
I'm
hot.
really good. It's been we've had family in town. It's been a nutso week. Carrie's sister from Washington visited, and I won't get into the details, but it was fun.
All right.
And
So
it's been hectic, but finally back to a full week of work, and life is somewhat normal.
Nice.
Maybe till tomorrow. And I had a wedding anniversary.
Oh,
That's
happy
right.
anniversary.
22
happy
years.
Anniversary.
22 years. Holy cow.
Yeah, man.
Happy anniversary.
I have to be careful how I say this or YouTube will censor us. Let's just say Carrie's been with me longer than she was not. Well,
Nice.
I her as well.
Nice. That's cool.
We've had each other
Okay.
longer than we didn't have each other.
Why would they censor you for that?
I was going to say I've owned her longer than her dad did,
Oh.
but I thought maybe that would be.
This isn't the time with the whole Slave One controversy.
Oh my gosh. I
can't say anything. We can't say anything.
Chris, how are you? You look like you're in low tech times right
Good.
there.
Dude, yeah. So yeah. So we bought a house today. So
Yeah, congrats
hallelujah.
to you,
Yeah,
buddy.
we're
Nuts.
excited. So last week we sold our house. This week we bought a house. We are moving in a couple weeks, but I've been in like let's just move mode. And so I did a lot of moving as a kid. So I was not going to be stuck with one of those people that is inviting their friends over to help them. And when they get there, you're still boxing things up because nobody wants to be that guy. So I have basically
I
closed
can't
my
talk
house.
about that.
I basically closed my house down. I've let each of my kids have one small box full of toys. Everything else is in storage. Most of anything on the wall has come down. It's boxed and in storage, so we're good. But last time we recorded, I just went ahead and was like, okay, let's get this packed up. So I packed up my entire desk. So I have no microphone. I have no camera. I'm working right off of my laptop today. So it'll be.
You do look less. You do look more low def than normal.
I am.
You look
I
like
am,
you
yeah.
look. So you bought your house in Tombstone, apparently.
Yeah, I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought it in wherever Pale Rider was.
Carbon
shot.
Valley,
Maybe.
Carbon
I don't
Creek.
know.
Carbon
Yeah.
Creek. Yes.
Carbon Creek. Yeah, that's
Carbon
where I am,
Creek. Speaking
You
of
know, man,
Carbon Creek, go ahead.
Donnie, you've done that. You've had people help you box.
I just did it 6 months ago, man. Yes.
Yeah, and I try not to be that guy, but my last couple of moves, I've had to be that guy.
Well, in fairness, I was alone and the church had pity on me and they came and boxed my stuff. So
yeah,
it was kind of their idea more than mine, but I'm not complaining. I'm extremely grateful that they did that because I'd probably still be moving if that was
Our
the
last
case.
move. We were more ambitious, but then like a bunch of people showed up and there were boxes for people to take. So it's kind of like that was like you guys work on that and we'll finish packing this. But then a bunch of people showed up and we're like, nope, we'll help you box the kitchen too. And that was it's actually a little unnerving having other people help you box because then you're like, I don't know where it is.
Yeah, you worry about forgetting something or it breaking something or
like a bag of dog food,
not knowing, or ammunition or whatever. So I did
Chris, you know
finally
that
find
story?
all that.
Donnie was like, for how many weeks, months were you?
It was
searching
probably
for a bag
like
of dog food?
a month and a half. Probably I was looking for my ammunition and my microphone.
And his
That was
microphone
in there.
and his dog food, which is a weird box to
They were not
an
together.
eclectic
It was
miscellaneous box.
weird. It is a weird combo.
you see my
for
box
sure.
with the dog food and the ammunition and the energy bars. Anybody seen that?
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah.
So,
you know what?
anyway.
Well, you got it open. Let me toss this mic in there. We just finished recording, so I'll just put it in here.
I don't.
I know. But
I don't-
for the record, next show, the next recording we do, which will be Phil's movie, will be from an air-conditioned office in my new house. So I'm excited for that.
You should paint one of the walls green and green light it.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
I have some plans. It may not be done by the time we record our first show in there, but in the near future, I got some cool plans for it.
Are you going to become like one of these
Unacceptable.
guys that has all the stuff behind us?
Yeah. I mean,
That's
the
what
goal.
I'm aiming for at some point if I ever
That's
get my
the goal.
3D printer.
I mean, you have Roger Rabbit behind you, which I'm fully in support of.
And the Blob.
Oh, the Blob. Oh, fantastic. These are both great.
Those are both good movies. Might be the two best movies the best two movie pairing, best pairing you've had so far.
Yeah, I agree.
I had RoboCop and Beetlejuice up there at one point. Let's be fair. Anyway,
by my opinion.
Oh gosh. Then your opinion of this movie tonight has no value, if that's what your take is. All right,
man.
I take offense.
Let's talk about the movie
the black tape
tonight.
back.
Nothing is worse than moving. Let's all agree to that. It's the worst.
That's the theme of this movie.
I'm not sure.
The theme of this movie. Nobody wants to move.
I don't want to move.
That's true. We can roll right into that.
That's
we don't want to leave Carbon Creek.
We don't have anybody to help us pack, so we're not leaving.
We're too poor to go.
I mean, in your case, Chris, you would have to pay movers to help you. This guy the movers were going to pay these people
to leave.
We're not leaving.
That's fair. That's a fair statement.
Not going to do it because of dead body. Okay, talk about it. Okay,
the movie tonight. Move on. The movie tonight is 1985's Pale Rider. That's P-A-L-E. Pale Rider. It is a movie that is directed by Clint Eastwood. This is our first Clint movie, which is hard to believe.
Can I be on the first Clint movie question? Is this his first movie directing?
Oh, heck no. He was directing back in the 70s. Yeah.
Oh, so okay.
Oh, yeah. He's directed several movies before this. He directed The Outlaw Josie Wales, which is a better movie than this, but it's problematic in our time because it's about a guy in the Confederacy, and so it wouldn't probably go over real well. He is an outlaw.
Yes,
that's a great
Josie.
It is, and he spits tobacco on people. So anyway, this movie is Pale Rider.
Already,
not only is it directed by Clint Eastwood, it also stars Clint Eastwood as a man with no name except preacher, and a guy named was it Michael Moriarty and some other people. But anyway. It also stars a fellow named Richard Dysart, Philip. You might be familiar with that name because you've met Richard Dysart. You met him on the set of L.A. Law in 1987.
I did.
Richard Dysart also, by the way, that is LaHood is Dysart with the glasses.
The dad?
Not. Well, yeah, he's the dad of Chris Penn.
He's not Chris Penn.
No, it's the dad of Chris Penn.
Gotcha. I met
Chris Penn. You did. You met him. He also, if you guys make the connection here, he was also in The Thing, which we have done on this podcast. He was the doctor. Also, there's another guy from The Thing in this movie. One of the thugs is in this movie. The guy who's
Billy Drago.
Nope, he's from The Untouchables. We've also done that movie on our podcast.
Have Billy Drago. It's not his first.
No, not the posse guys, but the thugs of LaHoods. He's the guy that does
Charles Hallahan.
Charles Hallahan. He was the guy I believe he's the guy whose chest breaks open and whatever. Anyway,
is he the face? Is he the head that turns into a spider?
He's the head that crawls around. Yeah, that's him.
Yes,
that's him. Let's not go down that path. That's a great movie. All right, that's one of our best podcasts, in my opinion. By the way, if you ever went back and listened to the thing, it's fantastic.
Do you know what our audience thinks our best podcast is?
Kung
definitely Jaws.
Jaws.
So Pale Rider. Let's talk about Pale Rider. Pale Rider is basically a very simple Western. I wanted to throw a Western into the mix. I gave these guys a couple of options, and they both had not seen Pale Rider, so I decided to do Pale Rider. And Pale Rider basically is a story of a bunch of gold miners, poor gold miners, on a piece of land that a rich property owner would like to have, but they won't leave, even though he keeps threatening them and tearing their little homestead apart and sending thugs in to do his dirty work. And so then eventually the preacher rides into town and just begins to defend them and kind of stands up to LaHood and his thugs. And it basically leads to a typical Western showdown at the end, and between the preacher and a posse of trained assassins, if you will. So
very well trained.
They're not greatly.
I don't think they got trained, a shot off,
but they never met Clint before. So let's be fair.
So wait, you picked this movie because Chris and I had not seen it before?
Correct. Of the options that I gave you, you both had not seen this.
This
so I
will
went with
teach me
Pale
to
Rider.
watch more Westerns.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so for the record, you like this movie, right? This
Me?
wasn't a mean- no, not
Donnie.
you, Donnie.
I
This wasn't
do
a
like
mean
this
trick.
movie.
Donnie likes
Okay,
this
good.
movie.
All right.
I would like to know how
I
many
have to
Westerns.
think there's a nostalgia to the Donnie's
no.
pleasure in this film.
Okay, so Clint Eastwood did The Outlaw Josie Wales in like 1976. This
Okay.
was his and if you know Clint, and you guys I'm sure know Clint. Let's talk about Clint. Clint's 93, by the way. Crazy. But
I have a question about Clint's age, but go ahead. 93. Good to know.
yeah, he's
Okay.
93 and he's
Still
still
living.
directing and acting.
Crazy.
So
I think he should do a remake of Pale Rider. I think it would be awesome if he like if he did a remake.
But if he,
of his
if he
movie.
still plays the preacher,
Yeah, he's still the guy.
and still casts a 15-year-old girl. But we'll talk about that.
Okay.
14, Chris. Almost.
So-
Oh my bad, almost 15.
Almost 50.
So anyway, Clint, of course, made his name playing the man with no name in the spaghetti westerns back in the 60s. And this, that's kind of his jam. It's kind of his thing. And so he hadn't done a western in 9 years. He did Pale Rider, and then he waited another 7 years and he did Unforgiven, which won Best Picture, by the way. So this was his thing.
By the way.
Unforgiven was
great.
in 92.
92.
Holy cow!
And
I thought that
so-
movie was made in this millennium.
Mm-mm. So Clint knows westerns. The guy knows how to make a western. He knows how to star in a western, and that's what he got here.
But Clint is
Pale
not
Rider.
the problem with this movie.
Okay, we'll talk about
no.
the prom in a sec.
So I'll give you that. Clint knows westerns.
Clint
like
does know
Bo
westerns.
knows football.
And cooking.
He does. And what? Cooking.
And cooking.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Clint Eastwood. So tell me I guess I don't know. I guess we can start with what your issues are. You guys both have
Well,
issues.
no, hang on.
Apparently
I
it's
think-
with the dog.
Wait. I think you were going to ask a question like how familiar are we with westerns? Is that you were going to ask them?
Yeah, I
something
was
like
going to
that?
ask you guys like maybe how many westerns have you ever seen?
Okay, so
One too many.
I don't think a lot. I've seen some. As I was looking through this, I have not seen a lot of Clint Eastwood movies. I've seen The Good and Bad, the Ugly. That's a
Yeah.
western.
Which, by the way, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think that's a very good movie, but everybody
No, I
loves
think
it. It's
that's the one that you get parodied in Back to the Future 3, though, right? That's the one.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, because
I think Back to the Future 3 is just a parody of.
Everything,
Oh,
of
what do you
all
mean?
westerns.
Like, look
No, he has that scene because Clint Eastwood has that scene where he wears the poncho
with the
and he gets
bandoliers.
shot.
No. That's from
Okay.
Fistful of Dollars, I believe.
That's
Oh,
from
that's the-
Shooter with
That's
Mark
the one.
Wahlberg.
Then I might
Also
not have seen
Shooter.
the good. That might not have seen the Good, Bad, the Ugly. So that's the one I've seen, Fistful of Dollars, and I only watched it because of Back to the Future 3. And then I've seen
That's an
Unforgiven.
interesting turnabout.
Yeah, I've seen Unforgiven. I've seen Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying the quality is good.
You've
You asked
seen
what
Wyatt
westerns
Earp
I've
had
seen.
Kevin.
No.
I thought Wyatt Earp had Kurt Russell.
There
No,
was,
that's Tombstone.
Yeah, and I've seen Tombstone. Tombstone is my favorite western.
It's great. I would have done that if you guys hadn't both seen that either.
I see.
Well, I'm going to
I've
make an
seen the-
unpopular statement. After
Okay, go
that
ahead.
text exchange, I'm not sure I've seen all of Tombstone.
What? We could have been doing
Maybe.
Tombstone tonight.
Oh
I
man,
think
with
I
Val
have.
Kilmer as Doc
I
Holliday.
think I have.
Oh,
I think
so
I have.
good. I'll be your Huckleberry.
I've seen
All day.
that.
Yeah, man.
I'll
That's
watch
great.
that anytime.
That's the one with that's got
Everybody. Everyone is in that movie.
Whoopi Goldberg.
No,
John
not
Connor's father is in that movie.
Yeah, Michael Bean.
Michael Bean
Is in that
Michael
movie.
Bean.
Yeah.
So once again,
He's Rico.
Takes it to the head, like every other bad guy in this movie.
Johnny Rico. Isn't that his name?
We're once again
I don't know
presented
this.
with the Kyle Reese conundrum, which is a whole nother problem.
So
We
So
can't
you
talk about
guys
a
have
western without
seen-
talking about the Kyle Reese conundrum in Chris's mind.
you can't talk about westerns without talking about Clint Eastwood. That's
I haven't
legit.
seen. I'll tell you. I'll be honest with you. I have not seen a lot of westerns. I don't like the genre.
Fair.
I find everyone's teeth disgusting.
Oh, that's true. I
Western.
Kind of the point.
Yes, I'm
I
with it.
feel
They
like everyone
mention
is-
they do mention cleaning
sweaty.
your teeth in this movie.
It's true.
So
I don't, I feel
I
like
do.
yeah.
Just point it out.
So,
I
okay,
just,
so
I
hang
just
on.
feel like
Okay,
I've never
all
seen a
right.
Western that wasn't. I know it's going to seem strange because this is probably the Western, like quintessentially Western thing for cinematography, but I hate the way they're colored.
It's all like drab and brown.
Yeah, it's like I'd like to see a vibrant sort of.
By the way, this movie, the reviews of this movie are like very good reviews. This movie was highly
Okay,
reviewed.
listen. Then
So let's talk
do me
about
a
it.
favor. Seriously, I'm not trying to be snarky. I'm not trying to hate on this movie just for fun, just because you guys hate every movie I pick.
I
Tell
said
me
already the only movie you picked I didn't like was Little Giants.
I got you.
I didn't rank on draft.
You,
That was
you,
Chris.
you were terrible on Kung Pao last show, so I don't want to hear.
That's fair. That's fair. I want to know, in all sincerity, I'm not being snarky. Make a defense for why this movie. What is good about this movie is there's no character development. I don't understand any of the dialogue. And
What do you mean you don't understand the dialogue?
Well, first
you mean
of all,
like
I didn't
it's
understand.
unintelligible?
I didn't
or?
literally understand some of the dialogue. Like I was like, God, please let Plex have subtitles. But no,
really?
No, sorry.
There were
Okay.
I have
times
to
when I
add
was
them
like,
manually.
at one point, Michael Moriarty Hull sounded like Gus Chiggins.
I don't know who Gus Chiggins is.
Neither do I. What words are you saying? These are all
Gus
made up
Chiggins
words.
is a
Phil needs
character.
subtitles.
Listen, Gus Chiggins is a character played by Will Ferrell. He's the old prospector that goes to battle with a group, and it was cut for time, and it's on his best of DVD.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And he's like, Gus Chiggins. And
wow,
it's great. Gus Chiggins is great. But anyway, at one point,
Paul
sounded like Gus Chiggins, and I'm like, I don't get this. I just didn't understand the story. What story are we telling here?
Yeah, so hang
What are
on.
you
Before,
talking about?
hang on. So I'm with Phil, but let me. I need to ask clarifying questions, Donnie, before we get started.
Go ahead. This seems pretty straightforward to me.
Besides the story, which is one glaring issue, the other issue happens at the exact halfway point where I lost my mind. And we'll talk about it
now
in a second.
Talking about the girl
because we may be bringing back an old segment called "Why This Movie Can't Be Made Today."
I don't
We're
agree.
Bringing that back for sure.
I don't agree with you at all. I think they would make that in a heartbeat. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
There are two reasons this movie wouldn't be made.
This is a typical crush kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. We got to get to the lakeside scene. We'll get there in a second, or the dog graveyard scene is what we call it.
Fakest dead dog in film.
Here's the question: Is this movie, Donnie, connected to anything else? Like, is this like a sequel in a way?
No,
does this character exist somewhere else?
Okay, have you guys ever heard of a Western called Shane?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of it, yes.
It's a classic Western from the 50s. It's kind of it's a sort of a remake of Shane. At the end of Shane rides off, and the little kid in that story, it's a boy, and he's taken to Shane, not in any weird way. Sorry. But he cries out to Shane at the end. That's the end of the movie is him yelling, Shane. Yeah. In this movie, it's preacher.
So a little bit of an homage to Shane.
Yeah, a mystery figure. This is typical Western stuff. A mystery figure rides into town. There's an underdog element, and he comes in and he defends them, and they move on. This is classic Western storyline. So I'm confused what you guys don't get.
It's not that it's that.
The daughter?
It's why does this movie need to be made? It doesn't tell a new story. This is what I don't.
No, it's nothing. Because I guess I read some of the stuff behind the scenes, and I guess Clint was just kind of like, we hadn't had a Western in a while, and there was kind of a few Westerns in the mid '80s that came out. Silverado, you mentioned Silverado and Rustler's Rhapsody. I mentioned that to you guys way back a couple years ago. Remember. Yeah. That's kind of the musical one, but yes. But anyway, he kind of brought back the Western.
So that was one of the things I was going to bring up. Chris, I'm sorry I talked over you, but that was one of the things I was going to bring up. I was 7 in 1985. Correct. So if what you're telling me actually adds some weight to the not needfulness, but the logic behind making this movie is if the market is flooded with cop dramas and somebody's like, you know what, man, let's make a good Western. Let's make a whatever. Like that at least explains why they follow the Western trope. Because that's this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, let's throw every Western trope we can in the mix. And that's why I said 85, because I would have said this movie was made in 1975 or 68.
Yeah. So it'd be like if they made a Western today, and it's like, oh yeah, that's an homage to Westerns before. I get that.
Even shooting a guy to fall through the glass, like when they shoot Coy at the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there. I even said out loud, I was like, oh, there we go. We finally got a guy shot through the glass.
Yep.
To fall through the glass.
The dancing, the gun, make the guy dance. Yeah, it's all there. Like all the tropes are there. I
saw this movie while we were at Universal Studios, but it was just a performance by some actor. I'm talking about one of those side performances when you're standing there and the guys walked through. That was this movie. It was one of those Western performances at Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Like while people are just hanging out between rides.
Yeah. So, okay, before we get to the touchy stuff, here legitimately is my problem.
Terminology.
This is where I got kind of off track with the plot of it. I can't be invested in anybody. Like there seems to be some sort of connection to, Sheriff Mustache and
Stockburn
and Father
Stockburn.
And Father,
who should have been played by
Clint.
Sam Elliott in the remake.
Yes, for sure. And Father Preacher, he says, I knew the guy, and but he can't be him because he's dead. And then at the end, he has like that panic moment where he's like, it's you or whatever. But like, we don't know what the heck happened. Were they friends? Were they enemies? Were they, broke back
bullet holes in
lovers?
Clint Eastwood's back would tell us they were enemies.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about that, what you guys are talking about. So Clint Eastwood in interviews after this says that the preacher is a ghost. Also, when you see the the bullet pattern in Clint's back,
it's the same as the bullet pattern in Stockburn.
As the bullet pattern that he shoots Stockburn.
I saw that.
Center mass, boom, 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 6 shots, and then one in the eyes, one between the eyes. So, I mean, there's a supernatural element to it, although that would not explain a few other things in this movie.
But and that's fine. Like, I'm okay with that, but we still don't get, like, I get it. Is he taking out revenge for, Sheriff Mustache?
He's killing his murderer.
Yeah,
Donnie said.
Yeah, absolutely. That's this movie is about Hull Barrett. This is his story.
Yes,
he's the most developed character, I think, in this movie. You see him.
He's also the biggest wuss in this movie.
Well, he's not really though. He's very defiant. They come and wreck his little homestead, and what does he do? He goes right into town right after that. He's like, nope, I'm going. They're not going to stop me. He rides into the store. Even the storekeeper's like, dude, you owe me freaking money, man. What are you doing? He's like, I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to find gold. And he goes out and he gets, summarily beaten, but he's the backbone of the whole group. Some of the guys flake out and like, we can't take it. And he's the guy that, even though he's super, I think you're mistaken a wuss for mild mannered. He's mild mannered, but he's not a wuss. There's a difference, I think.
Okay.
He's got backbone.
But he still isn't the star, though, Donnie. But you're right.
It's not about being a star.
It's about the movie's about him, but there is too much emphasis put on this made-up relationship between Sheriff Mustache and Preacher Boy, and we don't know anything about it.
I have plenty of issues with this movie. I actually don't have an issue with that, Chris.
Oh man, I do.
I feel like the mystique around that actually gives this movie some body.
Ooh.
Listen, I wrote this in my notes.
I think they could have actually fleshed that. I'm sorry, Donnie. They could have fleshed, not even told us the whole story, but they could have fleshed that out a little better and made this movie better and spent less time recycling horse riding footage.
Sure.
Or dynamite explosions of the exact same sluice box.
And that's what I'm kind of getting at. Like,
hey man, I love that scene when he starts tossing the dynamite. Now don't get me started on that.
But
Go
the
ahead, Chris.
beginning scene when they're like,
that takes a long time.
Oh, right.
It's like, get there, man.
Like, yeah, but opening credits always took.
That was the credits.
Yeah. But so like halfway
cut 30
through,
minutes from the movie by cutting
halfway through, right after the movie went sideways, we get this scene where Clint Eastwood goes and he trades in his priestly tie for a gun.
It's called
and now the gunslinger is back, right? But like I didn't know he was a gunslinger. Like to me, it came out of nowhere. It would have been like if
come out of nowhere. That's the whole point.
The point. Don't get me defending this movie.
Gosh, I don't like it. It's not good. He might as well have thrown a freaking cape and started flying around town. And halfway through the movie, that's how it felt.
Okay, you're going to tell me that you go ahead, Donnie. I'm sorry, because you're not going to get me defending this movie, but I'm about to defend these issues.
It's a good movie. You guys are crazy. You guys have one major hang up with it, and I get that, but this movie's not that bad. I would. I know you're not going to do it, but I challenge you to go back and watch Hull's campfire speech near the end when everybody's ready to give up.
Yeah,
that is a great speech. Here's what he says. I wrote this down. He says, if we sell out now, what price do we put on our dignity next time? That's great. That is a great speech, man.
America needs to listen to that speech.
Yes.
Right now.
Sure. I agree.
Yes.
And he rallies the troops. And even when the preacher leaves, he thinks is gone. He doesn't run away still. He's still there. And he like encourages the other guys like, hey guys, preacher's gone, but it's going to be okay. We're going to keep going. So again, he's the backbone. It's his story. And Clint is the supernatural element. He's an angel that comes in. And I mean, we haven't even talked about that yet. This whole movie, including the title, is biblical. It's not even symbolic. It's blatant.
She literally says Pale Rider, and he shows
Pale
up
Rider,
on a
and
horse.
hell followed with him, from Revelation. And she's quoting that passage, and praying over the dog. And here comes the footage of Clint riding in.
She's reading the wrong passages of the Bible.
Yeah.
It was a little odd, but
she needs to straighten up. Listen, I'll give you that. I'll give you some of that.
She's got issues for sure.
I'll give you some of that. Actually, I thought, other issues aside, and I have them, and I'll express some of them again more as we discuss this movie. But I will say, yes, Hull's speech was a shining moment in this movie. By the way, if you hear fireworks or explosions in the background, there's some guy around here. It's almost 4th of July.
Almost.
So I'll give
only
you
3 days
I'll
away.
give you the speech.
We're starting early.
You got to start early, man.
I'll give you that. I have but here's why I have a problem with this movie is because I don't understand I don't understand the characters. Like Chris said, I'll give you Hull. I don't understand Sarah at all.
Sarah's the wife.
Who's Sarah?
That's the wife.
Not a wife.
Oh my God.
Not a wife. The girlfriend.
Look,
I don't understand her character. I don't understand her demeanor. I don't understand her point in this movie.
I'll give you that. She's that's a whole odd thing. And when they close the door and get together, it's like, what is frankly, happening?
I had a problem.
Now, that is what happened, right?
Well, according to Common Sense Media, that's what it is.
I don't understand.
Okay, that's what they're saying. So here's the problem I have with that.
I tell you, listen, hang on. This movie, up to the speech at the fire, was great. I was totally in. After the speech at the fire, preacher boy goes to the lake, to the graveside of the dog, and he starts macking on with the girl. And I look.
No.
That's
not what happened.
Kira's 14. I let her watch it.
That is not what happened.
I turned to Kira and I said, "What is happening right now?" And from there, the entire movie went sideways. Everything was wrong after that.
Okay, let me ask you guys a question. You're hung up on this girl having a crush on Clint.
Wrong.
Okay, well, all right. First of all, he doesn't.
I mean, come on. But he doesn't deny it.
No. I went.
You guys are talking over each other, one at a time.
Sorry, go Don.
He does not come on to her at all. She comes out and he's there, and she tells him, all this stuff about, you're kind of awesome or whatever, and wants to hook up with him. She's 15 in the movie. Says she's 15 or whatever.
Almost
Most.
15.
Okay. But what does she say after that? Mama got married at 15. So she's thinking,
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman, and she wants to be a woman, and he's a hero figure. And I mean, they don't do anything. It's not like
they don't. I'll give you that.
In fact, I wrote this down. Let me do this, and you guys can go off on it. I wrote down Preacher's rejection / letdown of Megan. I thought was pretty masterful. He doesn't spit in her face and go, "Hey, you're a kid. I'm a grown up." He knows this is a young woman that is coming of age, whatever, and she has these deep emotions. Mm-hmm. She's going through all kinds of crazy. She's
trying not to shatter her.
Right. He tries.
She does then tell him to go to hell.
Her. She does.
She does say that.
But he is. I feel like.
And then I think he says under his breath, "That's where I came from."
Donnie, no, okay. I don't disagree with you. I will say
I don't see what's so offensive about it. They don't do anything. They're not. They don't shack up and go to town or something.
I don't agree with Chris.
He doesn't go, "Hey, that sounds like a great idea." He's like, let's not do that. So I don't get the issue. I don't follow.
I don't agree with Chris. I don't think it's Clint.
It's not Clint at all.
It's not Clint, but it is very uncomfortable dialogue.
Sure.
There are ways that they could have said, "Look, this girl's got a crush on this guy." That is not
a crush on you.
This was not, "I have a crush on you." She literally said, "Let's make love." Okay.
Yeah.
She did.
And that
but they didn't. They
no.
not
I know that's not. I'm just saying, like, there could have, again, there's a way to be like, "Hey," like for him to have let her down in a way. If she had been like, "I love you," and he had gone through that whole speech, totally agree with you. The crossover moment when she's like, "So let's make love," I was like, whoa. That is very bizarre dialogue.
Is it though? I don't feel like it is at all. I know. Dude, you were a youth pastor. I was a youth pastor. Chris, look, this isn't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere weird. It's not going anywhere weird. Don't everyone calm down.
I was 14. I never asked somebody to make love to me.
You're a dude. You're a guy. You're not a girl.
Exactly.
Girls are different, man. They are thinking along maturer lines than boys are. That's true. That's a real thing, man.
I think that dialogue is problematic, and it is reason number one. It's not the whole reason this movie doesn't get made today, but it is a
major
reason.
One. It is the major one.
Second reason
have
is
you read the
stereotypical Chinaman.
Oh, at the waterfall, the fire hose thing. Yes, and they have the nice hats.
Where was that at?
At the Coburn or whatever they call it. Those guys' names are LaCoy.
Oh, the sluice where they're spraying the water. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're like, "Ah."
All right, fine. I get it. You guys didn't like that
I just
scene.
think that was problematic dialogue. I think,
sure,
but I'll give you that they could have. That scene can stay minus a couple lines. Sarah, I'm going back to this because we didn't get there. I don't get it. I don't get the love triangle mother-daughter thing. I don't get her willy-nilly willingness to be completely unfaithful to Hall, this supposedly good man. And I wrestle with the fact that, like Chris said, Chris, you lost it at that moment, or at the moment with Meg. I thought this guy's a stand-up guy. He's the preacher. He's also a gunslinger. So he's clearly a conflicted guy, but his conflict, his internal conflict is about the lives he's taken.
Yes.
I fully expected him to turn her away as well.
Yes. And he's a ghost.
Well, I think they originally cast Whoopi Goldberg for that.
That's what I heard.
You mean Patrick Swayze,
or whatever? But no. So for me, it's like
I'm with you.
Completely takes him away. He's like
that scene.
He's not even an upstanding guy. He's a dirtbag.
Well, no, I don't think he ever claims to be anything but a dirtbag. I mean, let's be honest.
He says he's a preacher.
He doesn't. Well, I don't know that he ever proclaims that. He just walks in with the collar on, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're the preacher."
She's like, he knows we both love him.
Yeah,
Okay,
what
first
the
of
heck?
all-
that scene when she comes in and she didn't get to say goodbye, like I wanted to go into the movie and punch both of them is what I wanted to do. Like I'm telling you that at the halfway point at the dog graveyard, this movie became more bonkers than Kung Pao.
It's not bonkers. It's not bonkers.
And
it's
I
just,
could not take it.
I'll give you Sarah.
I
Sarah,
fully
that whole
thought,
thing. Yeah, they could have taken that out. I didn't understand that either. It was kind of weird.
Even if she had kissed him like she did, like I'm in it to that point. She's doing
says,
the same thing.
So
She's
I'll
expressing
never
her desires,
Yeah.
just so I'll never regret it.
Right.
And whatever. And then he's like, close the door.
Yeah, like he even tells her. It isn't like she was even if she
Clint.
closed the door and came back in and was like forcing it, like it was his. Yeah, come on, no.
And what
no.
I
and
was
then the
also
whole
troubled
exchange
by
the next
is,
day. Oh my gosh.
help me understand. Isn't that Hall's house that he's staying in?
Yes.
Maybe. I don't know. No, her dad died, so maybe it was her house.
When he first gets there, they give him a room at Hall's cabin. That's what he said. I got an extra room at my cabin. You can stay.
Yeah, maybe.
And he comes out of a back room somewhere.
Yeah.
To eat some fricassee.
Fricassee.
But then they go to town in another room in another house.
I would like some fricassee and a sarsaparilla.
I just don't. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay. I was hoping for more.
This is not an action movie for sure.
Well,
it's slow pace. I'll give you that. But it has some pretty. It had this. So when Preacher first appears in town, so the Duke boys are beating the crap out of Hull with hickory sticks.
Is that what they're called? The Duke boys?
No, I just made it up.
I was like, wow.
Whatever they're called.
I didn't have my subtitles on, so I just assumed I missed that in some unintelligible dialogue.
But it's and I know it's a classic trope, but there he is on his horse. Boom. He's sitting there in the middle of the town, which is great. I love that scene.
I did like that scene. And I like
then
the
he's
way
gone.
The guy is like,
yeah, the guy looks, he's there, and he's like, okay, and then he turns, he's gone. So but probably my favorite scene in this movie is when Clint comes walking up on the porch and he reaches into the bucket and he pulls out his own stick. Axe handle. That's what I wrote, but he calls it a hickory stick. So when he is pulling that stick out of that bucket, that scene is so smooth. And it's just the way he moves. No, seriously, watch Clint, bro. The way he glides with that stick, he's like, just kind of slides it out. And he just like looks at those dudes, and it's like he just starts going and boom, 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 flinging their sticks. And I thought the fight scenes were pretty realistic. Like, I did.
Okay.
I thought they were. I've seen a lot of movies. I've seen a lot of really bad fake fighting, including a lot of Marvel stuff where they're swinging punches and coming like 5 feet away from their heads.
Sure.
I thought this was pretty good for 1985.
I thought that every time he addressed one of them, their weapon flying straight up into the air and twirling around across the backdrop of the sky was a little like, hey man, did you just figure out that shot right before? Like,
yeah, maybe
like we've got the camera set. All right, throw a stick in the air. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my
now throw
gosh,
a gun in the air. Okay, throw another stick in the air.
You're gonna love this.
When
it's gonna look great, I promise.
But I didn't. When he pulls that stick out, pain is coming. It's like these guys are about to take a beat down. And what I love is at the end of that scene, he beats the crap out of those guys, and he says, "There's nothing like a nice piece of hickory."
Yeah.
and then Hull goes, "Much obliged." Like, thanks for saving my butt.
I thought though. It was pretty cheesy when he spun the axe handle.
Yeah, I agree, but I thought the fight scene itself
looked like something out of Kung Pao.
He was like, yes,
maybe a little over exaggerated for sure.
Look,
but I thought
I have no complaints in the first half of this. That was great.
Chris,
let's talk about this, man. How he shows up. I'll give you a thumbs up on how he shows up.
Cool. Yeah.
Clint is the best at this, man.
I love when the big guy comes And Clint just
Jaws?
like, and he like takes him to task and then helps him back on the horse.
Oh gosh, yes.
It's such a great scene.
I wish that at some point though that guy had said, "Excuse me, sir, your ball struck my foot."
So Clint sledgehammers.
He's my favorite actor, and this is his worst movie.
Jaws.
Clint sledgehammers that guy in the family jewels, and then he walks him back and gets on the horse. But then he looks at the kid and he says, "What does he say?" He says, "Dadgummit, I wrote
something
it down."
about ice.
Well, he says that to him, but then he says, "Dang it, where is it at?" I can't even find it now. Sorry.
Okay, so while you look,
go ahead.
Let me comment on that. That scene.
Oh, I know what he said.
Go ahead.
He says to Chris Penn, he says, "Thanks for stopping by, son."
Yeah.
and then Penn looks for puts his hand on his pistol.
Yeah.
And then you get the classic Clint stare, like, "Oh yeah, you want to go there?" Like,
yeah.
And that's even before he has a gun, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about Jaws, and then you can go to what you're going to say. But when Jaws he comes out of that tent when you first see him,
oh my
it
gosh,
is like the fat man in a little coat scene from Tommy Boy. It's like he's coming out of that tent, and it's like he can't even get out of the door. It's like,
I thought it was Andre the Giant.
Oh gosh, the guy's so big. He's dead now. Anyway, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, so the scene where he beats him up, hits him with a sledgehammer in the face.
Faces him and then family jewels him.
And then jewels him.
Yep.
And then he helps him on his horse.
Yep.
I know I keep coming back to this, is why the scene with Sarah is so problematic.
Yeah, because he's a nice guy.
Because he's an honorable fighter.
Yes.
He didn't come to, he's not some hired gun.
Yeah.
He's there to fight for good.
Yeah, he stays of his own volition to help. Agreed.
And so for him to just like turn into carnal.
Let me address that. She's in all fair. Listen, you brought it up.
We're listening. I know.
We are listening.
In all fairness to whatever year this is, 1880, whatever, she's not married. She's not a married woman.
She walks in the house and says, "Just so you know, I'm marrying, Billy." And he's
giving
like,
myself.
No.
And he's like, Billy's an honorable man.
She seems pretty sketchy on Marion Holt through the whole first part of this movie.
No, I know.
Like,
but
she's
that
like,
scene in particular, she walks in and she's like, "Listen, handsome devil, ghost guy, it ain't gonna work between us. So I'm gonna marry Holton." And then Preacher Boy's like, "That's a good idea. You should do that. He's a great guy." And then he's like, "But first, why don't you close that door and let's bibbity boppity boop?" And I was like, "What? Like you don't say both of those things at the same time."
Okay, fine. He's a bad guy.
You don't say the guy you're going to marry is great, but please sleep with me first.
If you're going to do that, pick a door with some privacy.
Yeah, like right next door.
The door's got gaps.
This is Phil's hang up. Phil's hang up is privacy. Oh my gosh. All right.
Oh man, and I'm being serious. I'm being sort of tongue in cheek, but that's what I'm trying to say is like it goes back to like I don't understand the character that they're developing.
Yes.
And go look at Unforgiven. We're not going to probably ever do Unforgiven now because we did a Clint Western, and so he's the same guy in Unforgiven. He's a bad guy. He goes on a good mission because of a situation on behalf of a woman, honestly, but he's a terrible human being. He shoots people in cold blood,
and
his history is terrible.
I'm good with that. I'm fine with that.
He even leaves his kids alone. He's like, "Hey, kids, I'm leaving. Take care of yourselves."
I'm okay with all of that if Preacher shows up at the beginning with a gun on his hip.
Yeah, sure.
So you're torn with the
enters
whole Preacher
the equation as a conflicted bad guy trying to right his wrongs. And that's clear. No, that's clear because they don't make that clear.
Okay. But even in Unforgiven, he's not conflicted. He's a bad guy. From the get go. Clint is like,
but this isn't
I'm
Unforgiven.
a bad.
This is Pale Rider.
That's not how
I
this
agree.
starts. This starts by him coming in and saving the day with nothing for himself.
Feet of clay, man. That's the point. He's just a dude. He's just a regular guy. He screws up. He does the wrong things. Maybe that's why I like this movie. I don't know.
But he's never treated that again. It's fine. He's just never treated that way. Like if that's what you're going to do, if he's a feet of clay, like sort of anti-hero, then he needs to screw up in this movie way sooner. Like he needs to kill somebody and then be like, and throw his guns down and then try the nonviolence thing for a little while. And then he has to pick up his guns.
Yeah.
That's the character you want to build that character. But that's not the guy we got. We get an otherworldly rescuer who seems bent on justice and raining down hell from on high.
Yeah.
And then on the side, I'm going to take a tour with Sarah inexplicably. Like it doesn't like,
but justice for who? For himself or for the Homestead people?
For the guy whose girlfriend he's going to sleep with.
Yeah.
I'm not going to debate you on the being a bad character. Yeah, that's fine. But
it reminds. Here's what I thought about it. It reminds
me. It's not as tropey.
It reminds me of Quinn a little bit, right? In Jaws, like he comes in and he seems like a good guy, and then you get the scene where they get drunk and they talk about the Indianapolis, and Quinn like becomes like no, just hang on. You see that he's been through something that has changed him. I don't feel like we get, other than the bullets on Clint Eastwood's back, we get no history into what makes this character tick. Yeah. He shows up, we have no history. Even when he meets Detective Mustache, there's no yeah, you killed me, and I'm here for to pay that back or whatever. Or it's time to pay the piper, or I'm death. Yeah, it's your reckoning. Something like that would have been fine. Or if Professor Mustache would have like explained the story of like, I know that guy because that guy, murdered
you want a flashback.
My family.
You want a flashback.
Yeah. Or even just a story. Like that guy broke into my house, murdered my family, and I shot him.
Okay. That's
and then
fair.
He's a bad guy.
That's fine. I'm not debating it.
No, we don't
have
know.
Have you ever seen Platoon?
No.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me right now?
That's the scene where he's like this, where he's like, ah! He's like, Adrian!
Yeah, but that's not what he's doing.
Rocky.
But yes.
I'm pretty sure
Platoon is
Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger,
right?
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. Is that the eating the people with the...
It's a Vietnam War movie that won Best Picture in 1986.
Is that the like where they eat the
year after this movie did not win Best Picture?
What's the movie where they... Oh crap! Come on.
What are you talking about?
Oh crap! I don't know. There's a saying I thought from that movie.
Anyway,
no.
The reason I brought up that is because in that movie, Tom Berenger is kind of the bad guy, and he's scarred up, bad, but you never find out why he's scarred up. You just read into that a history of like this guy's been through some crap, and that's what I feel about Clint. It's like we don't really know what went down. Maybe Clint was the bad guy. Maybe they were the legit law and they came out and blew that dude away. I don't know. Maybe he is from hell. Maybe he did come back from hell and is wearing his preacher collar just to, to get by with the common folk. Like, hey guys, let me fit in with you and I'll draw in, homeboy over here and I'm going to blow him and his posse away. I mean, who knows? There's a lot of vagueness.
I love the idea that he's a wraith. I actually said to my wife, she watched this movie with me. I said to him, I think Charlie Sheen also, correct?
Yeah, that is true. Charlie Sheen. Two Charlie Sheen's references.
I said to my wife, I was like, he's a wraith. Because he kept, if he's a ghost, like a wraith, all right, good. Because that explains why one dude's looking through the window and they all bust through the door and shoot up the place and he's not there.
Yeah.
And why he disappears 2 different times on his horse.
I'll give you though that then it's like, oh, that makes sense. However,
Chris, have you ever seen The Wraith?
Yeah, I've seen that with Charlie Sheen.
So what would be cool is if Clint's horse blew up and then it
that
came
would be
back
amazing.
together.
It came back together.
Yes.
And he ran over somebody else with it.
Obviously would have made this movie better.
Again, I'm not saying that I don't want to get in the everything has to be explicit camp. I'm okay with vagary. I'm okay with leaving something. I'm okay with the scars on his back saying this guy's been through some stuff. I'm good with that. Fine with it. I just think
I get it.
I'm not going to say it again. He's not a cohesive character, and not in a conflicted way. I'm okay with a conflicted character. I don't know what character this movie is trying to make the preacher.
I would submit this without any knowledge. Honestly, I would submit this. Maybe Clint was trying to make a completely off the, the trope kind of character. Maybe he was going for that. Like, okay, I've already played
Mission
this dude.
Accomplished.
Agreed. I agree. But it's the story itself is take that aside. I'll give you that. If that obviously derailed both you guys, and that's fair. I get it. But the movie itself is a classic tale of, Phil, you said it, justice. It's a stranger comes in, goes up against great odds, gets his revenge. It's to me, it's just a basic story. There's not any real redemption to it. It's just, hey, man, I served out justice. You guys can go on finding gold. And that's kind of how it works out. But no, it's a good discussion. I appreciate that you guys thought enough of, through it to have that conversation. I'm sorry that it derailed it for you. I mean, I do understand.
There's a couple things I think off that would have helped, that I think would have been really cool. And they kind of got there. So I'll give them some credit with Hull. Like, Hull does wind up pulling the trigger on somebody.
He does.
And
he's the new preacher. He's the new protector.
Not because I want him to be a murderer, but because of exactly what you just said. Like, he finally found something that made him, like, not just like, he didn't just keep becoming the punching bag. He finally became the defender.
Right. Yeah. He's the new leader. He has newfound respect with the homestead.
I kind of think it would have been pretty dope, but this is just my opinion, is if Professor Mustache, as Chris calls him, Stockburn, had gotten the jump on Clint and wounded him, and that's who Hull killed.
Hull kills, yeah. It probably would have been better.
Just because, like, then it's this exchange of, like, this guy is like, he's rising to the occasion and he's a part of, like, rescuing the rescuer.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have that, but he shot some fat rich guy. Like, nobody cares. Who was going to punk out. How many times did Clint almost die in this movie, by the way? By being shot in the back by a LaCoy? Twice?
Maybe once or twice. So the scene, he at one point near the end, he goes in, townsfolk kind of get out, which is always fun. I always like a good townsfolk exit, scene. Well, get out of town. They're going to have a gunfight. Let's go. Close the saloon and the barbershop and all that. Let's get out. So anyway, so he sits in the window of the saloon with his back to the door, right? This scene is fantastic. Forget the rest of the movie. So they come in, they peek in the window, and the guy's like, yeah, he's sitting there with his back to the window. Let's go in. So they go in, he's gone. They shoot the place up, which they just blast it to.
I don't even understand that scene.
I don't either, but it's Predator, man. They do the same thing in Predator.
But Predator wasn't visible. He wasn't a guy sitting at a table that when they walked through the door should have been like, oh, he's not here. They just walked down.
Okay, that's not the scene I'm talking about. But that's not the scene I'm talking about. The scene I'm talking about is right after that. He comes in from the wing.
The guy runs. Oh my god!
Right, yeah, but what does he say to him? He goes, "You through?" I love that line. He goes,
"He's got some great one-liners."
Yeah.
And he starts blazing away, man. Look, now, here's a little tidbit.
Clint Eastwood is a great cowboy. I mean, he's great. Oh, he's got the grit.
He's the John Wayne of this.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I've seen a lot of westerns. Yeah. A lot of westerns. Clint in this movie is wearing my favorite Western outfit. I love that maroon duster and that hat I love that outfit.
Yeah.
That is an awesome outfit. That hat, I tried to look it up. Like, what is that called? Something special? Because it's a little bit of almost top hatish
bit of
in the middle. It's a
wider
little high
at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's sweet looking. I love that.
I will say this is what I wrote about his wardrobe. I don't know if I can take much more of these spurs before I shoot myself in the face. Because once we hit the last 30 minutes, all it was is clank, 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 clank,
oh my gosh.
like the entire time. I'm like, we get it. No. We got spurs.
I did like his wardrobe. I did love his hat. I loved his hat.
That was great.
I think the dusters that the lawmen were wearing were very cool.
Those were cool. But see, if you look
I thought that gave a very sort of uniform, like bad boy.
I like how Stockburn ends up in the middle every time they're standing. They all form around him. That's pretty cool too. But but Clint's duster, if you look at it, it's shaped to him. It's like it goes to the waist and then it kind of expands. It's pretty cool. I'm talking fashion on our movie squad.
No, it's great. I actually thought that I liked. Yeah, I liked
the costumes in this movie were pretty great. I have to say.
Yeah.
So there's a couple scenes in this movie. You talk about not being made today. I was less concerned about the 14-year-old girl coming on to Clint than I was about
the attempted rape scene.
The animals in this movie.
Oh,
so in the first couple of minutes, I was asked by my wife, how far can a horse run before it dies? So I've always wondered that, and I've never looked it up, because in movies, like, they're traveling 1,000 miles, right? And they how far can a horse go at like full gallop or whatever? So the answer is like 2 to 2.5 miles. If you gallop any further than that, the horse is probably gonna die. They can canter for like I think 10 miles or something like that, but whatever. So that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, though,
there's a movie where a guy just run. Oh, I think it's
he
Gladiator.
runs the horse to death.
It's Gladiator.
Could be. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I know there is a movie where a guy runs his horse to death.
I think that's called The Never-Ending Story.
The dog in this movie.
No, that's brutal, bro. And that dog dies when that horse dies.
Oh, no, I'm talking about right before the dog dies. That dog is terrified. That dog is legit freaked out amongst the horses. He's freaking out, man.
If you're in a gold digging homestead on the side of a mountain, is that really the dog you have? I mean, come on.
If you're a 14-year-old girl,
nobody takes that dog to the Wild West.
Yeah, nobody takes that dog to the Wild West.
You said 2.5 miles, Donnie?
That's what it said.
So you're saying that every one of the horses at the beginning of this movie should have been dead before they got to the homestead?
Yeah. Sure.
All they were running.
Before they got to the B-list characters, they should have all been dead.
They all died right after the raid. And those guys all walked home. Let's just put it that. They get home on foot and their wife's like, hey, how's it going? Well, I didn't really calculate the mileage all that well on my trip, but we
get
need
miles
a new horse
per gallon and they get horses per mile.
We need to get those mile markers so we know.
But also there's a cow in this movie that is laying on the ground, writhing in pain, and looks like blood pouring out of its mouth. So I went back and watched the credits today to see if there was any kind of like no animals were hurt in this film. There is no tag of no animals were harmed.
That cow is dead.
That cow looks legitimately like somebody shot it and they had it right.
Well, the blood on the cow was fake.
The blood was fake, but cows don't act. That cow was like laying on the ground.
Can you
tag that on Facebook? Pain? Cows don't act.
Clearly, moo.
Can you show me pain? Can you show me anguish, please?
Moo.
Okay, got it.
Also, one other thing I've discovered about every movie ever made that involves any, westerny, rural type setting, no one cares about chickens. No one.
No, chickens are
just get kicked around, run over. Just no one cares about the chickens, man.
Chickens
what
are
is
mean.
Going on?
Nobody but the Colonel, man.
Chickens are mean.
Brutal.
Chickens are mean.
My sister-in-law had to have one of their chickens slaughtered because it kept attacking her.
Do you slaughter chickens?
Well, you eat them.
You do eat them. You wring their necks, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
some of the houses
animal.
that we were looking at had like really big backyards and some acreage, and my wife was like, "Yeah, we can have some chickens." So I said, "Well, we're going to start looking at houses with smaller yards because
can we?
You don't
can
want
we
chickens,
also,
bro.
hell
You don't
will
want chickens.
freeze
They're a hassle.
over before.
Can we also get a bunch of horses to run around in the yard and chase them and
but
step on
only
them
2
as well?
miles. Only 2 miles.
Listen, are you off that? You're out of that.
Go ahead.
You
Done with the animals.
chicken thing. No. I'm being serious, Chris. You don't have to get chickens. Right?
No. We're never having.
Okay,
chickens,
good,
no.
good. Because I was gonna say, talk to my sister-in-law. I'll put you in touch with her. She'll tell you.
No.
Oh no, chickens are mean. I agree.
Well, they're mean. They're a hassle. You got to get their eggs, and you live in Texas, so their eggs will attract snakes.
Yeah,
I know people who have reached into get the eggs out and grabbed a snake. Like, you don't want that in your life.
Not cool. You know where there's a lot of chickens at? Hawaii. They're
everywhere. Also at KFC.
Everywhere.
All right.
Okay.
Here's something about Westerns. You're talking about KFC. You're talking about chickens.
Go ahead.
Here's something about Westerns that people the actors, the characters in Westerns don't seem to value is the value of a bullet. I don't understand the riding around and unnecessarily just blasting all of your bullets into the air. Like,
here we come!
Pow, 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 pow,
and
pow,
it's not even the economics of it. Like, those things aren't really quick to reload. You know,
right.
Even when Clint Eastwood did it real cool, it's still all like, let me just rank this down. I'm gonna pull this
and
out,
by the way,
put another one in. Don't shoot me while I'm doing this. I'm gonna put the thing. I'm gonna crank it back up.
I'm inviting you out.
By the way,
3.5 minutes, and then we can do this.
That gun is pretty cool though.
Oh no, it's great. I
love watching Clint reload because he never looks at the gun. He's just like walking the whole time.
That's actually my least favorite model of a Western gun.
I just think it's cool.
Little crank.
Yeah.
I just think the scene of him just walking straight onto that dude, reloading that gun and never losing eye contact with him is pretty sweet. Yeah, he's like, I'm coming, buddy. And by the way, another thing about
this, announcing your presence by firing 2 blasts. You know what I'm talking about.
Outside the house.
They're like, you're
who
either shoot, like the bad guys at the beginning, like either shoot us. Like, if I'm in the position of the homesteaders,
you're talking about the raid at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm counting bullets, bro. I'm like, okay, that guy shot 6. We don't have to worry about him. Okay, that guy shot 6. Let's take him out. Like, Like,
by the way, Hull, back to Hull. What does Hull do in the opening scene? He knocks a dude off a horse with a shovel.
Oh, was that Hull?
Yeah. He's the only one that does anything. Again, he's the backbone.
Big fan of Hull.
Yeah, I like Hull. I think Hull's a good character. I love that.
I wish he was more important to the story.
So,
are we going to talk about the guy who finds the inexplicably large piece of gold?
Holy cow! That
carries it around.
Was it really gold?
Styrofoam.
They never say whether it's, what is it called? Pyrite, fool's gold.
Yeah,
but
they said it was a clump of agate filled with nuggets.
It did say that afterwards. That's right. So yeah, it was a lot of gold. That's Spider. That's his character's name.
But his
I like that dude.
Kept changing. When he was sober and giving a speech around the fire, he seemed like a relatively normal guy. And by the time he's drunk, running around in the courtyard, he's Irish.
Yeah,
he's Irish.
I mean, you got to bring out the Irish.
He's a, and then when he finds the nugget, he's like, "Come on, I'm like,
what I love about
this guy.
What I love about Spider is his name calling throughout the movie. He's calling all these
skunk's butt.
Yeah, all these dastardly
and that's not an edit.
Names. Like, he's a skunk's butt, and he drops about 3 or 4 of those. Yeah. So
if he wouldn't have drawn his gun at the end, would they have shot him?
No.
I don't think so either.
They were
waiting,
trying to get him.
That's why I agree. So why do you pull your gun?
Because he's drunk and he's mad. And he's
But according-
Irish.
Here's what I do
All right.
think is really convenient is they shot the gold into 2 pieces so his sons wouldn't have to figure out how to split
they
it.
gotta split it. It's like we took care of this.
That's a nice move. Yeah.
It's just like,
That was
So
very
they're
thoughtful.
they are really nice guys. I mean, if you think about it.
they're
I mean, they're
estate
dead.
planners.
But
By the way, I love the running joke of Hull going to town. Everybody's like, remember what happened last time you went to
going
town?
back to
Like,
town?
yeah,
You
like
went to
every
town?
time you go to town, you get the crap
Yeah.
beat out of you. Do you want to go to town?
Sure you want to
Yep.
do that?
my only last note here, and then I'll pretty much be done because I don't have much else to say. I thought the last fight was way too long. I was not engaged at all with the whole duck and cover thing by Preacher Boy. Like,
Really?
it was way too slow.
I love a good town search scene. I love those kind of scenes.
But here's my can I get back to character? Okay, so this plays my whole issue with this movie. It doesn't tell me anything about Preacher.
Yes.
Here's what I want to know. If he's a wraith, he gets in a shootout with all 7 guys.
Yeah, and nothing.
Okay,
happened.
maybe he's not.
Nothing happened.
I think the Sarah storyline
He's
establishes not
he's
a
Luke
race.
Skywalker
Maybe he gets
at
some
the end of the Last
bullets
Jedi.
in his
You know what
coat,
I mean?
like bullet holes in his coattails.
Yeah.
Nothing bleeding.
Yeah,
And he
he's Luke
awesome
Skywalker at the
ball.
end of Last Jedi. He stands out there, he takes all the bullets, he puts them all down, and then you find out he's been a ghost the whole time. Spoilers.
I get down with that.
Yeah.
I get down with at least something that leaves me going, is he? Isn't he? Is he? Isn't he?
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Okay.
But again, I thought it would have been. There was a scene where a guy was walking at the camera down a little alley. And,
Yep.
and I literally said to my wife, I said, even a modern Western, but in a modern movie, that guy gets a knife to the throat.
Yeah, something.
That's how he dies.
Clint shot him.
Because you shot
I
him,
know.
yeah,
he shot
right.
he shot everybody. I wanted like some
Nope.
John
No,
Wick
he didn't
stuff.
shoot the last
He
guy.
tied one
Oh,
guy
that's
up to
right.
a
That's right. That's right.
That guy's still going. That guy went at least 2 miles.
2 miles.
2 miles. Well, the horse can slow down when it's tired since it doesn't have anybody whipping it. anymore.
Clint did not think that through very well.
No.
That guy will live 2 miles isn't enough, Clint. You
I
need
Yeah.
couldn't have thought
yeah.
this
And he
movie
can walk back.
ends with Meg actually leaving with Preacher.
Oh my gosh, Bill, why?
I'm not saying it should have. I'm just saying I thought that's where they were setting us up.
Oh,
for.
you thought they were going to do that? Oh, I
thought
misunderstood.
that, or I thought that there would be a scene where she caught up to him and she tried to kiss him, and he did the letdown again. This movie did the same thing multiple times. It shot everybody in the head. It had the same special effect. It just repeated like camera shots a few times.
You mean like flying axe handles?
Yeah. You can tell they blew up that sluice box one time and just set up like 3 cameras, and they just used that footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, let's talk about that scene. I like that scene.
The dynamite scene?
So yeah,
I like how the dynamite knew, and they knew exactly how much wick to put on it so that they got every camp that
everybody
could get out. Of
course, man.
For it to explode.
But why? Because he's sleeping with, taking women. So why does he care if the guys get out of the thing?
Oh my gosh.
So let me ask you this question:
care about other things.
Does Penn die? I can't remember.
No,
I don't think so. No, he comes
just
out
gets
of
his
that
hand
last house.
blasted.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
see
right,
him
yeah.
again after that.
Yeah.
But that
Him
scene
and Meg
where
get together and rebuild the town.
Oh my
And the
god!
yes, start from scratch, Adam and Eve. So Clint comes in with the dynamite with Hull, and he's blowing up some fools with Hellfire and Brimstone.
I see. So
dropping some of that. Hell followed
Mhm.
with him, but then he in a nice little twist, he drops some dynamite. Hull gets down there to pick it up. Clint steals his horse.
Yep.
And says that I'm going in by myself, man. So that was another noble gesture.
Yeah, it's like, hey, dude, I just slept with your wife, but I don't want you to die today, so I'm gonna
Not
take
his
your horse.
wife. Not his wife.
Also, I may go by
Not
and make a
his
visit
wife.
to her again before I go to town.
In
just
fact,
case,
now that you
know
don't
what
have
I'm
a
saying?
horse and it's going to take you a while to get back to town.
I
Yeah.
will be there before you.
Pit
Yes.
stop.
And
no
I
doubt.
can, and it's less than 2 miles, so I can. Book
Man,
it.
you guys
I
are
mean, we
hung
can
up
do
on
this.
that scene.
Stop.
All right. Okay. It's fair. It's fair enough. I get it. It's a derailing scene. It's a bummer because I thought it was a good movie.
It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess because up until that point, I mean, even with the awkward, advances of the 14-year-old and Clint kind of entertaining it, but kind of not
entertaining it at all.
0%. I don't think he entertained it.
I say 0%.
Up until the scene with Sarah, you think that he is like Phil has said repeatedly. You think he's an honorable guy, and when he does that, he is a bottom-feeding dirtbag.
So he's a dirtbag. What's the point? What's your point?
But at no other point in the movie is he a dirtbag.
Do you wish that him riding off into the distance, he just disappeared?
I wish he would have like at the end of Grease. I wish the horse would have started flying and he just went up into the sky. That's what I wish would have happened.
Fantastic.
And they were all in the background, and then Grease started playing.
You said the end of Grease. Right. You don't mean the end of Jumanji 2.
Yeah, that one too.
Thelma and Louise. All right, let's bring it home.
Okay.
Bring it home, boys.
All right.
All right, Chris.
Let's do it.
You got anything else to say?
Man, I got nothing.
Okay. Phil?
No, I think I've said, I've said what I need to say. I'm not a Western guy. This did not help the
That's
cause.
fair.
I give it, let's do Tombstone next time or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to do. I would have done Tombstone this time. If
3:10 to Yuma. That's a great one.
That's a good one. But just so people know,
remake?
Either one.
I've seen the remake. I enjoyed that. With is that Christian Bale in it?
I've seen both.
Yeah,
yes, Christian Bale and Russell Crowe.
Hull.
Yeah.
Basically, yes. Yeah. Basically, yes. Same story.
Yeah.
Just so people know, the 3 or 4 of you that are listening at this point, the idea, the premise of our show is that we try to pick a movie that at least one of us has not seen.
Correct.
So that's why
I did this.
Listen, 2 of us had not seen this one
because you both had not seen it.
I will say this movie is a lot like Lost. If you just watch the first half of it, it may be one of the greatest things you've ever seen. So,
all right,
I don't know about that.
I get it. I thought it was good.
Let me ask this question. Can I ask these questions just off?
Sure.
It's on that topic, but it goes a different kind of in closing. When was the last? Excuse me. Is Django Unchained kind of the last good modern Western that's really made a splash? Like it's really been popular. And would you consider that a Western? I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, it's good. Django Unchained is fantastic.
I've never seen it.
I like Tarantino. He makes good stuff. Yeah, that was 2012. That was 9 years ago.
The Hateful Eight. He made The Hateful Eight.
Oh yeah, The Hateful Eight came out in 2016-15. That
was also Tarantino.
Yep, yes. I like that one too. I've watched that one a couple times.
And then they do call The Revenant, which I haven't seen with Leonardo DiCaprio. They call that a Western. I've seen that. I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
That doesn't strike me as a Western though.
It takes place in the 1800s.
I'm just looking.
Yeah. Django is good. I would recommend
Brokeback
that.
Mountain was in 2005.
Not a Western.
Oh, okay, great.
Definitely. Talk about objectionable content. Never mind. Let's move on.
You ever seen it?
No. Just because you wear a cowboy hat doesn't make it a Western.
They did the True Grit remake. That was
because your dead lover.
True Grit came out in 2010.
Doesn't make it a Western.
There have been some good Westerns that came out in the last decade or so.
3:10 to Yuma. What year was that? Like 05 or?
That was back in the aughts.
Yeah.
I wish Christopher Nolan would make it. How about Aliens versus Cowboys?
Oh, terrible. No, that one is fantastic.
It is not. That is a bad movie.
It's a good one, man.
It's not
Has
good.
Harrison Ford ever been in a Western?
Yes, he was in one called The Frisco Kid back in the 70s.
Never heard of it.
I've heard of it.
I don't think it exists.
Gene Wilder and Harrison Ford. True story.
I will not watch that.
One of the guys, did you guys pick up the Kylo Ren lookalike?
You talking about Billy Drago?
One of the hired guns, Kylo Ren to me.
Oh,
sure, it wasn't Billy Drago.
It might have been Billy Drago.
What about, that's true. What about Hell or High Water? They classified that as a Western. I don't know if I would say that.
That's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
I don't know what they qualify as a Western. I guess I needed to look that up for the show, but I didn't. So
who was in that?
That was Chris Pine
and
Ben Foster.
Ben Foster, yeah.
And Jeff Bridges, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't
Jeff
he the
Bridges
sheriff?
was the sheriff after him.
I don't know.
But it was more. It wasn't like this, like 1800s Western. It was like
modern. Yeah,
it's like a more modern. But they're in like Texas or
Arizona, it's just like somewhere. Set in the West, but it's a modern movie.
Listen, the best Western, not Hotel, but the best Western ever made is Young Guns.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
I watched that recently,
true, but I love Young Guns.
I watched Young Guns a couple of months ago, and it's all right.
Fantastic.
Well,
I loved it.
Young Guns
in the 80s. I loved it.
I loved Young Guns too.
I loved it. Yeah.
I would like to get a hold of Young Guns too, Chris, if you get a chance, like in the next month or so.
You know who else is in Young Guns too?
We'll do it.
Balthazar Getty,
the consummate John Bon Jovi.
Yes, he is.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Well, he dies fast.
Nice.
Comes out of a hole and gets shot.
All right. Well, sometimes
all right.
Do that.
All right. Let's rate it. Let's move on from there. I'll let Phil rate go.
I'm going to give this movie one inappropriate conversation.
Okay.
But that's good out of 2 because there were 2. So that's a 1 out of 2. It's not bad. That's 50%. That's good.
Oh boy.
Christopher.
I would give this I would say like a 1 1/4 galloping mile. So that's what I would.
The horse doesn't die in your.
No, the horse doesn't die, but it definitely.
Survives,
but he's very wounded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your rating's not killing anybody. Good.
No, not here.
I will give this movie 81 nice pieces of hickory.
Yes.
Nice pieces of hickory.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I appreciate you slogging your way through this 1985 Western by Clint Eastwood. This has been Pale Rider and Hell Followed With Him. All right. I guess that's it for the Movie Squad. I am Donnie, your host this week. For Chris, for Phil,
bye.
We are out.
Goodbye.
Bye. So I asked these guys, you guys, to come up with your favorite actor, actually 3 of them, if we can do that, and their worst movie, the worst movie of your favorite.
It'd be the worst
actor.
movie that I like still because they're in it.
It has to be
like the movie.
Let me say this. I should have probably stipulated this a little clearer. Like a movie that they're the star of, like not
Maybe
some,
like
I was a cameo in 1960 something or whatever.
Well, that makes sense in the question. You said
like,
their
okay.
movie.
Yeah, like their star, their movie, but you were just like, yeah, no, I love you as an actor, but this movie really is just not good. So I will start. I'm going to start with Tom Cruise. I love Tom Cruise. I think in real life, I've said this on the podcast before, I think in real life, he's a psychopath, no doubt. And an adrenaline junkie to a startling degree. The guy's probably going to end up being killed on a movie set at some point. But his movies, he is one of the few actors that get me in the movie theater. I will go to the movie theater to see a Tom Cruise movie.
Trying to joke, Chris.
Oh boy.
You will go to the movies. You love Mission Impossible.
I love me some Tom Cruise.
I love Tom Cruise too. He's great.
Worst movie, again, that I've seen. It has to obviously be that you've seen. That is obviously a qualifier. I had to go 2 on this one. The first one is Legend. Have you guys ever seen Legend?
Yes, I love Legend.
It's terrible.
Yeah, dude. The devil.
Is there a dragon in that movie?
No, the devil's in
Oh,
that
the
movie.
devil movie.
Yeah,
I never saw it, but I've seen.
Tom Cruise is like a fairy
the devil's a famous actor in that movie.
Tim Curry.
Yeah.
And the girlfriend is the girlfriend from Ferris Bueller. So
it's a pretty intense devil costume.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
no, that gave me nightmares, bro. That costume.
And I believe it's directed by Ridley Scott. Yeah, it is. But that movie's bad. Everybody for years raved about the movie. I didn't see it in the 80s back when it came out. But everyone's like, oh, Legend. And I watched it. I was like, what is happening? The other one is Rock of Ages. Have you guys seen Rock of Ages?
Oh, I heard good things. I never watched it.
Is that musical?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
dumb.
Adam
It's
Lambert.
like a rock
singing
and roll
that?
musical.
It's super
In
dumb.
that?
Yeah, it's a rock and roll musical. He's the
Oh.
main singer, Stacy Jacks or whatever. I watched that about 6 or 8 months ago, and that movie is just garbage.
So let me get this straight. Your favorite actor was in a musical, and you picked that as one of his worst movies.
It wasn't.
Anyone
Well, it
surprised
was a
by this
musical.
choice?
We'll go with Legend. How's that? All right,
Yeah.
Chris, you're next.
No, hang on. I want to know
Oh.
what you think his best movie is.
Oh my gosh,
That's impossible.
Come
is
on.
it Mission Impossible? Oh gosh, that is a tough call, man. I've got a lot of. I love Top Gun.
What
obviously,
okay, Top Gun, which is not a good movie. I mean, like
it's
in the
not a
grand
good
scheme of
movie,
things.
but it's
yeah.
it's entertaining
I
as crap.
love it.
Top
I
Gun
love
is
it.
just an advertisement for the Navy.
And
Yeah.
guess what? I'll be in the theater when Top Gun Maverick
Oh,
comes out. I'll be
Maverick
sitting
will
there.
be good.
Yes.
Maverick
Yeah.
will be good.
I
Maverick will
love-
be to Top Gun what Aliens was to Alien.
Yes,
I hope.
I agree.
I love Minority Report. That's a great movie.
It's a good one.
movie.
The Mission Impossible franchise, all but Part 2, is fantastic.
Yeah.
Those are great
If you're a big
movies
fan of this show, you'll recall that's the only Mission Impossible movie that I own.
that
on
you've
DVD.
seen. Yes,
That's the only one
There's
I've
all
seen.
that.
It's the only one
Just
I own.
own.
Oh,
What
okay.
about Cocktail? Right.
That's a bad movie.
It's pretty good though.
It's not. It's dumb.
It's
Who's
not.
his friend in that movie?
Michael Caine?
Brian.
Michael
It's the
Michael Caine in it?
FX guy, the guy from
Yeah.
FX.
Yeah, it's not Michael Caine. It's
No,
yeah,
not
I know
Michael
you're talking
Caine.
about.
It's kind of like Michael Caine.
It
It's
could
like
be
Dollar
Michael
Store.
Caine's
Like
It's
brother.
an
Dollar Store Michael
Australian
Caine.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
whatever.
can't remember his name.
All
All right,
I
Chris.
think, wasn't he in one of the Jaws movies?
No, Michael Caine was.
That was Michael Caine.
That
Yeah,
was
Michael
Michael
Caine
Caine.
Gotcha.
I like, dude. I love Minority Report. I really love Jerry Maguire. We were actually talking about
That's a
this,
great movie.
today.
Oh,
Jerry
it's-
Maguire's
oh, yeah.
so good. Yeah.
Very
Okay.
good. Very good.
My turn.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Miles Teller.
What'd you just put in your mouth?
Mint.
Okay.
Mm.
Miles Teller is who?
I'm not
See,
super
actor?
familiar with Miles Teller.
See Baby Driver?
So Miles Teller, he's in Top Gun Maverick for the record. He's the lead new guy. Miles Teller is maybe my favorite like new actor on the scene. He really made a splash with Whiplash, which I think is what his best movie is to date.
Yeah, that kid.
He's great.
That was a good movie.
I love him. So good. He was in he was
Never saw
in
Whiplash.
Fox. The
That's
Fox.
good,
Oh,
sure.
dude, that's on the list now. Yes.
But I've heard that somebody didn't like that movie. Some famous guy was like, that's not how you make good jazz. You don't beat somebody in a
maybe not.
submission.
I mean, to be fair, they're white guys, so they probably can't make good jazz. So, but he was in the Fox remake of Fantastic Four called FF. Have
Yeah.
either of you seen FF?
Nope.
Like, it's terrible. You have to understand. I love the Fantastic.
Is Michael B. Jordan in that?
Yes. Outside of Spider-Man, Fantastic Four may be my favorite comic series.
And they've
I'm
yet
so
to make a
excited.
quality movie.
I know. I'm so excited.
they're
that
bad,
Marvel
all of
finally
them.
has it. Marvel finally has it back in 2024, which is perfect for Fantastic Four. We're gonna finally get the real Fantastic Four, which I'm super excited for. I watched the old ones with Jessica Alba and Michael Chiklit and Chris Evans as Human Torch. Yeah. And they were fine. They were really mostly garbage, but they at least tried to do Fantastic 40 stuff. When they remade FF, it's terrible. It's about like parallel dimensions, and it's super angsty, and it's not superhero-y at all. It's just terrible. Miles Teller played Mr. Fantastic. Huh?
Is Krasinski gonna play the new Mr. Fantastic?
They haven't announced it yet. I think him and Emily Blunt should play Reed and
That's
Sue.
been the rumor for a long time.
I can't, dude.
That would be a
I
big
hope.
fan service.
Yeah, and I mean, she's really buddy with Disney. She's doing Jungle Cruise right now, and she's done Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
Yeah, so she's got an in there, and I think having a husband and wife play them, as husband and wife, I think would be a great take. But
can I go off on the Mary Poppins thing for a second? So I have every week I have to go into a couple of prisons for my job.
Fantastic.
And
I did not know this already. How is this not a common conversation?
It's I go in the prison. They escort
One
me
in St. Louis.
In St. Louis, and there's two of them next door to each other. I go in both of them every week.
Right.
So yesterday I had to go in there, and they had a wasp nest over one of the windows outside. So I have this retractable pole. It's probably about, I don't know, 15, 16 feet long, and telescoping, I guess what you call it. And it has this brush on the end, and it's shaped, like, I don't know, like this, whatever. And so I'm carrying this pole, and it only retracts down to about 6 feet. And I look like the chimney sweeps Bert from Mary Poppins. I have a tool bag in one hand, and I have this in the other hand. And I'm thinking to myself, I look like a complete fool. And these guys, I mean, they sing to me when I come in. They sing the Orkin Man. Here comes the Orkin Man. I don't know what the commercial is. Is there a commercial?
Are you dead serious?
I'm totally serious.
But you're not allowed to talk to them, I bet.
I do, but I don't know if I'm allowed to or not. Well, anyway, I just thought that was funny.
Is your Miles Teller worst movie?
Yeah, it's horrible. Okay. I think he's been good in everything he's been in except for that. That's cool. Terrible. All right, Phil, what you got?
Phil.
Tom Hanks.
Oh.
Lady Killers.
I've never seen it.
I've seen it, but I feel like I was in a drunken stupor when I saw it. Like, I don't remember it at all.
It's bad, dude. It's bad.
I've heard that it's bad. That's a Coen Brothers movie.
Well, it's bad. Maybe it was supposed to be bad.
Because he's doing like a Colonel Sanders kind of thing, right?
Colonel Sandersy thing.
Yeah, I remember seeing like clips and stuff. Yeah,
Chris, we need that too.
Okay, all right. So remind me later. We'll get Young Guns.
We already tried to talk about favorite Tom Hanks movies before on another episode, and there's too many of them to name.
There's too many.
Do you have a favorite one? Like, what's your go-to?
Oh, I mean, the problem is with Tom Hanks movies should be shoved into genres, and you should be able to pick your favorite one of each genre.
Sure.
Toy Story.
Toy Story 4 is probably his worst movie.
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
What? Are you boycotting it because you?
I have not watched a Pixar movie in the last probably 5 years. Oh, I saw Incredibles 2, but that's the only one I think that I've seen.
Don't worry, very soon you're going to be watching one.
I'm not certain that Pixar does sequels well, except for the Toy Story.
Yeah, because Finding Dory was terrible.
Finding Dory's bad. Incredibles 2 is not great. Cars
2.
Yeah.
But I've heard really good things about Luca. My kids have seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
My name is Luca.
But yeah, no, I really like You've Got Mail. I really like.
I do too. That's so much fun. Burr, I love Big.
I mean, like,
good.
But
it's got to be Forrest Gump, though, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Saving Private Ryan.
I like Saving
Private Ryan. I like
his worst movie though is The Lady Killers. Which is a remake, by the way. You guys know who was in the original?
Colonel Sanders.
No.
Okay.
Alec Guinness.
Oh.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. He plays that.
Kenobi.
I did learn that. I think Tom Hanks is going to be in an Elvis movie.
Oh boy.
2020, maybe filming this year.
That's interesting.
All right. I'm going to move to the next one.
Donnie, what's up?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. You knew I was going to say him at some point.
Conan.
Do it.
The Conan movies are not good. I've watched both of them recently. They're not great. But
they had a cool sword. That
very
sword
cool.
Is so cool.
And Conan the Destroyer was better than Conan the Barbarian. The sequel was better than the first one. But they were both pretty bad. With Schwarzenegger, I'm going with a little film from '94 called Junior, where Arnold.
It's not a tumor. He was just way ahead of the curve.
He's way ahead of his time.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
he's a visionary, bro. He's a visionary.
The movie, Arnold gets pregnant in the movie, and it is terrible. It's a terrible movie.
It's hard to watch.
It's really bad. And it was right in his heyday, too. It was right after Terminator 2 and True Lies, and it was like, all right. And then it was like, Junior. It's bad. All right, Chris.
So I wanted to throw an actress into the mix. So originally
I couldn't think of any.
Yeah, so me too. So I picked Natalie Portman, but I couldn't find a bad movie that she's been in. I couldn't find a bad movie, so I didn't use her.
Thor 2?
You're the worst.
No, I mean that's a trouble movie. It's not bad. She's never been in a bad movie. Well, I mean, arguably episode 2. So she was.
She makes every movie worse by her very presence.
I mean, that's wrong because she's amazing. But so I went with Sandra Bullock because I love Sandra Bullock. She's fantastic. She's been in a lot of great stuff. And I picked Speed 2, Cruise Control. Because I remember as a kid, not a kid, a teenager, watching Speed and just loving it. And, the hype around a sequel, in the 90s was all about sequels, man. 80s and 90s were all about that sequel. So I was like, man, I cannot wait. Another Speed. Let's do it. And then, the poster comes out and you're like, wait, where's Keanu Reeves? He's not in it. And it's like, well, Sandy B's in it. It's going to be great. No worries. That movie was gook. Now, I will say Willem Dafoe's the bad guy, and he is still fantastic. And Sandra Bullock, as always, is super charming, but that movie is terrible.
That is a classically bad movie. That is on that's on lists of bad movies.
Yeah, it's
not
Speed
good. 2's bad. It's a bad.
It's not good.
All right,
but even still, Sandy was great. So
she's good. Phil, what you got? Anything else?
It's hard, dude. I looked up Denzel because I like Denzel a lot. Movies that I've seen of his, I couldn't come up with a movie I didn't like that I thought was bad.
Yeah.
There was movies on that list. I love Ben Stiller. I can't really come up with a bad Ben Stiller movie that I've seen.
Really? Ooh. There's a lot of those. Have you ever seen Along Came Polly? That movie's terrible.
Yeah, that's true. Is that
But
the one
he's
with
good.
Jennifer Aniston?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I didn't go there.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
And then
Zoolander.
I didn't play the
Zoolander's
game
terrible.
well.
That's fine.
Zoolander's
I
terrible.
think, yeah, it's tough, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. When you asked this question, I was like, I don't know that I've got an actor or an actress that I'm like, oh, if they're in this movie, I got to see it.
That is a
I
tough
kind
thing.
of agree too. Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
I'm
Maybe more when I was a kid.
Right. I'm probably more in that phase now too, where I'm like, yeah, does the movie look good?
Yeah.
Not so much the actors, but again, Tom Cruise. I'm usually going to be watching a Tom Cruise movie. So
when you were, yeah.
So, all right. Well,
I look forward to. So I'll tell you this. I look forward to the Tomorrow War or whatever it's called.
Oh man, me too. That looks great.
That's Chris Pratt, right? That's on
Chris
Prime,
Pratt.
isn't it?
Comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
On Prime.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Maybe that should be.
That's not a Marvel movie, right? That's just like
No, it's just
it kind of looks Edge of Tomorrow-y.
Yeah, it looks.
They
great.
send people from present into the future to fight.
Yeah, so future
Yes.
warriors come back and recruit people to come to the future.
So
30 years. Only 30 years.
So it's Millennium.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Exactly
with
what we're
fighting
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
and not
All right.
cigarette
Not
smoking.
just yanking. Oh my gosh, so much cigarettes. All right, I'm going to go with I already went with Schwarzenegger, so I was going to go with Stallone, but I'll go with Robert Downey Jr. I like Robert Downey Jr.
All right, so Doolittle.
I have not seen Doolittle. Otherwise,
don't.
it would probably be in the running. It looks terrible. I remember, I literally remember seeing the commercial for that movie when it was coming out, and I was like, "What? What am I watching? What is happening? It looks bad."
The problem is, it was an Oscar bait movie from the beginning. They're like, we're going to tell this epic story that Robert Downey Jr. is going to sell, and it's going to be an Oscar-winning performance, and it was terrible. Like the music,
they thought a Doolittle movie was going to be an Oscar.
I'm not saying that's what they thought. I'm saying that's the way it was marketed. The music, the epicness of it. It was like supposed to be this. It just felt like it was trying to be something of like a higher echelon when it really should be like Pirates of the Caribbean, like goofy and kind of wacky, but it wasn't that, and it was terrible.
I can't believe you watched it. My pick, though, having not seen Doolittle, my pick is a movie that you guys may not even ever heard of. It's called The Singing Detective. It's I think it came out in the early 2000s. It's so bad. He's a detective, and he's like burned. He spends the whole movie like he's burnt from like head to toe. It's disgusting.
So he looks like a mummy, or is he just like has
Yeah.
skin burns.
Yeah, his skin is burnt. He looks
Ugh.
disgusting. He looks like the blob here. It's just his whole body is that
Weird.
color.
Yeah, I don't
But
know about that.
but it's like a flashback, and it's a drama, but it's golly,
Is
it's
is it a musical? Why is he singing?
there is some singing in it, but it's just it's so bad. It's
That
a bad
sounds
movie.
terrible. That sounds
Yeah,
terrible.
it's no good. By the way, I
Is-
pointed to the Blob earlier in our
Yeah.
podcast because we were talking about Platoon. You guys know who's in Platoon and the Blob?
Is this
the
Robert
pink-
Downey?
The pink gooey thing.
No.
'Cause that's from the
Is that what
same
came up?
detective. But apparently it was originally an 86 TV show.
No.
Oh.
This is like from I would say early 2000s. Maybe it might have been the 90s, but I think it's early 2000s. Who's in the Blob and Platoon? Anybody?
Robert De Niro.
No. The
James
answer is Kevin Dillon,
Oh, that was what I was about to say. That
Matt's
I don't know.
brother. He's
I
the
don't know who
star
that
of the
is.
Blob, dude. He's the main guy.
I don't know who that is, bro. I don't know who that is. I have another one.
You've seen the
Oh,
Blob.
thanks.
You said you liked the Blob.
I don't know Kevin Dillon.
He's
Name
the main
another
guy.
movie.
You've
The
seen
Blob and
Entourage.
Platoon.
He's in Entourage. He's the main guy in Entourage.
Never seen Entourage.
I haven't either, but I've heard of it. Chris.
All right, I went in with Leonardo DiCaprio,
Oh, okay.
who I think is arguably the best actor alive today.
Oh, okay.
You can say Aviator.
No, not for
I
best.
like
But
that
Aviator's great.
Chris should relate to that movie though, because he ends up
He's
naked,
recluse.
Really
locked
crazy.
in a room by himself.
Yes.
That's going to be
Yeah.
you in about 10 years. So
Yeah, I actually put I think the best movie that he's done is The Departed. And so that's what I.
the what?
The Departed.
Never saw it.
Oh, that's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
I
No,
love
but
that
the
movie.
worst was The Beach. Have you guys seen?
I've
The
never
Beach?
seen The Beach.
What was the beach?
Ooh,
I've heard it's
Now,
bad.
Now I've read some stuff about it recently because I was looking at some Leonardo DiCaprio stuff. I say recently, right after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and people say that
A year ago.
it's actually I know. So people actually say I guess that it aged well. So maybe I need to rewatch it again. But I remember going to the theater and watching it because it was after Titanic, so late '90s. And I didn't write the year down. But
Wait. The beach.
Mhm.
There's
I
a lot of
think I
drugs in that movie.
saw
I
this
think.
movie.
Yeah, he's in like Bangkok and he finds like the secret map and he goes to this like secluded island, but then there's like native people that live on the island and and like things are cool for like a little while and then it kind of goes freaking crazy and people start dying and there's a dude who commits suicide and then there's like this whole
I think I saw that. I think I saw it in the theater.
Yeah. Anyway,
like, back in the day.
Yeah, it was a little bit like Pale Rider, in which like the first half was really cool, and then all of a sudden it was like, all the 14-year-olds in the movie wanted to sleep with all the grown people. So it was.
Well, at least you finally got it right,
Yes.
and you said the
So.
14-year-olds and not the adults.
Whatever.
Have you ever
Anyway,
seen
so
Full
that's
Metal
for me.
Jacket?
No.
Dude, you've not seen Platoon or Full Metal Jacket.
Adley, are those war movies?
Yeah.
Soylent Green is what I was thinking about earlier.
That's from the 70s, and that's Charlton Heston. Yes.
So
Soylent
that's
Green is
people
people.
food, right? People food?
It
Okay,
is literal people food.
Got it.